Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, to it. I know it's going to be a long show. I am very tired. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, to Talking God and Politics with Mark, Mike, and Denise. I was telling these guys before, I took something this morning. I thought it was chocolate milk. My wife's like, no, it's got stuff in there to make you go to sleep. And I took it this morning, and man, it is hitting me now right as the show starts. So that's my excuse. You guys are going to carry me tonight. Mark, how are you doing?
Good, good. A little tired myself, but it sounds like Denise and I are going to have to step it up. So I'm ready.
Yes. There you go. So we have a lot going on. The big one, of course, is, and we were listening to Matt Walsh, and he's right. It was what I was talking to my wife about earlier. That is, Republicans always talk about high crimes, misdemeanors, treason, and no one ever gets prosecuted. You know, they come before Congress, they answer some questions. Then Republicans claim, oh, he perjured himself. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No one ever gets arrested. So now the big thing is Tulsi Gabbard's coming out with, and Trump has declassified all the emails between Obama and his little underlings and the CIA and the FBI and Comey. And they're just exposing the whole Russiagate thing, which everyone has known forever. But apparently they've got the receipts. And so I agree with Matt Walsh. It's like, if no one gets arrested, then Tulsi should just lose her job. Like, we cannot keep claiming, yelling fire and doing nothing. We cannot keep saying treason and doing nothing. We've got Fauci on the ropes. We've got the auto pin that has now, for the last year, at least the last year, everything that was done by the auto pin is completely null and void.
Everything.
I mean, this is the golden opportunity. If we don't do something now, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Well, now it all has to go to Pam Bondi, right? And on her desk for the Department of Justice to actually, arrest somebody. So we'll see. She's done a great job so far of arresting people. So we will see what happens. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on any of that, Mike. You're right. It's ridiculous. It's the elites protecting the elites. And who would have thought that Trump was one of those people? But here it is, man. It's all being exposed.
So my question is, how many of what has or has not been released, how much of that is due to non-disclosure agreements that have been made by victims where it makes it very difficult to release anything?
Oh, you're talking about Epstein. Okay.
Epstein, right. Yeah.
I was thinking Obama. All right. Gotcha.
How many of these are going before grand juries, which are generally secretive, that we don't know anything about? I think we still need to give things. I mean, when you go back and look, it took 6 years for Al Capone to ever be charged and tried and convicted of just a handful of the 22 indictments that he was charged on, and they didn't even get him for murder. Not any of the gangster mob stuff that he really did. They got him on tax evasion. So it's not easy. That's my point. It's not easy.
Yeah, and look, it's all about communication, and the government is the worst at communicating.
Sure, especially a corrupt government.
Yes, that's what it comes down to. Absolutely, what you're saying is right. And if that is the case, then just communicate that.
Right. I agree. And I think General Flynn came out and said that. He was like, look, understood. This is very complicated. This is very far reaching. This goes not only to our government, but goes to pretty much every government in this world will be implicated through Jeffrey Epstein. It's complicated, extremely. Come out and just own it. Own how complicated this is. And own how difficult this is going to be.
Yes.
And then we will not feel so betrayed and so much like the elite protecting the elite.
That's Trump's job. He's the leader.
He is.
He doesn't.
Right. He is the
doesn't
one
crap.
that needs to communicate.
What he did is he came out and attacked his base like an idiot.
Right.
I mean, like a child, like an immature child.
Yep.
I mean, he's the leader. He needs to come out and communicate.
Yep.
And he doesn't do a really good job when he communicates.
I mean, he pretty much came out and said, "Why are you questioning me? You don't support me anymore." When the whole MAGA movement is about no longer going along hook, line, and sinker with whatever we're told.
Yeah.
It's about questioning, and it's about holding them to their feet to the fire and accountability.
Well, last time we were together, it was coming out of just move on, ignore it.
Right.
And now Twitter or X has blown this thing up so much that they can't ignore it, which I go back to what I always say. It's great to see the internet making sure that our politicians don't forget, or no, we're not going to put this down. So you need to address it. And now here we are. Okay, fine. We're going to address it.
Special counsel, and then we can do whatever we want with it. We can delay it. We can we can do whatever we want with the special counsel, but it gives the appearance to the people that we're doing something about it. Well, we'll see.
I think, didn't Trump come out and tell Bondi that if it could be declassified, to go ahead and declassify it because of all the pushback and blowback he was getting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I agree with you. It takes time. At first I was on the bandwagon, release everything. But then I started thinking, you know what? You really can't do that because this thing goes for a long time and goes high up. In fact, Ian Carroll did a great YouTube deal on the flight logs. And in fact, he's live right now doing a thing on why it runs so deep, that it wasn't just celebrities. It wasn't just politicians. It was scientists. It was, all of these major players in these different fields. And you can't just dump it all out there.
Right.
And I realize that. And you make a good point to that. But you have to communicate that because you've got people going, do something.
Yes.
About this. This is not going to die because, this is one of the most terrible things you could do.
Yes.
So
this is the backbone.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is the backbone of the world economy. Sex trafficking, human trafficking is the backbone of the world economy.
Yeah.
Well, the CIA and Mossad, well, the Five Eyes, they run, I hate to say it, the world. They run the governments of the world, those institutions, presidents, prime ministers, they come and go. They're the ones that are running the show. When you listen to Putin or you listen to other leaders, they say, we talk to your presidents, but really we're dealing with the CIA. They just outright say it. Like your presidents really don't have that much power. Yeah. We have to deal with the deep state. Yeah. We have to deal with these. And so the problem is that the Epstein files are going to expose the CIA and the Mossad, and they are the most powerful players right now. And they just kill people. They just whack people. And I think a lot of people are scared, but
I think that's another point. And you can't just vomit all of this out because you will have people suicided to prevent them from talking.
Right.
You will.
Well, yeah, you've already seen some of that, but yes, exactly. I think I came to that realization last week, really, in thinking about it, of like, you can't just, this is one of the most corrupt things. And then the whole Obama thing comes out and you're just like, dude, we knew our government was corrupt. I have hated government for a long time because as the more power it gets, the more corrupt it becomes. But then you when it actually comes out, you're just like, oh man, they're basically showing everything that I believe of government to be true. So it's a good thing, but it's going to be hard for us to get through this initially. I think once we get through it, it's going to be great because people are going to totally. This whole idea of trusting the government I forgot what I was watching. It may have been Ian Carroll talking about it. In the 50s, up through the World War II and after and into the 50s, when our economy was great, people trusted our government. They felt like that when they said something, they took it as the truth. And yes, they're good, and this is evil, and the United States is good, and this whole concept of
the same with the media.
Yes, it's Uncle Sam, and he's our uncle. And then all of a sudden, you had this JFK assassination, and everybody went, "What just happened?" And then you had
the coup,
in the 70s with the president that was basically spying on his what's his name, Nixon. Then you had Nixon come out.
Watergate,
and you had all these things happen, and now here we are, and I think we've hit the wall, and now it's gotten this Leviathan's gotten so big.
Well, I think it was turbocharged with Obama, with the Smith-Mundt Act that went into effect, and it was codified in law that the U.S. government could now use propaganda against its own citizens. Before that had been against the law. They could use propaganda against foreigners and foreign countries, but not U.S. citizens. And then that was codified into law with the Smith-Mundt Act, I think, in 2014. So here we are. And the Mockingbird media, what was it that they said? If you go back and you watch, all of the congressional hearings, that they will have known that they did their job when the American people couldn't decipher truth from, what was non-truth.
Right.
Coming from the media. Yeah. So here we are. This is where we are. And we have no idea what is true and what isn't.
Right. And you think about it, if it wasn't for the internet, if it wasn't for YouTube, if it wasn't for these people like Tim Pool that started this, what do they call it? Ambush media or whatever, and Alex Jones. If all we had were the newspapers and televisions, you're right, we would be blind.
Right.
Well, I've got a video that kind of plays into this whole political system and where this money comes from, and I think Nick Fuentes does a good job of kind of laying it out. I think he. Do you have that clip?
No, but I'm kind of liking Nick, but Nick's got such a potty mouth lately. The kid has so much potential. He's only 26 years old. He can do so much good, but he's so young and stupid sometimes. Yeah. He unnecessarily limits himself.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
Well, the whole Candace interview thing too,
that's what I was laughing about.
That was like a soap opera. It's like, take this stuff somewhere else.
Yeah.
What a joke.
But I think he hits on some good points. I think he goes to the extreme on some of these things. But if you haven't heard this, I want to get you guys' perspective.
Here's how politics works. Okay, let me just tell you how politics works. Powerful Jews pay Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, Jews like Miriam Adelson. Yes, Jews like Ike Perlmutter. Jews like Jacob Hellberg and Keith Raboy and David Sachs. They pay Trump hundreds of millions of dollars. Have you ever seen $1 million in your life? Have you ever seen $1 million in your checking account ever? They give him $100 million out of their discretionary fund for an election, and they've done it for years. Millions of dollars. And they tell Trump, here's what we want. We want to bomb Iran. We want to annex the West Bank. We want an investment in AI. We want more drilling for oil and natural gas. We want a corporate tax cut. We want no regulations on artificial intelligence. And then do you know what Trump does when he gets in office? check, 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 check. He does every single one of those things. Here's the problem, though. There are only 100 or so Sam Altmans and Jacob Hellbergs and Miriam Adelsons. They can't deliver 73 million votes in the election. So the various PACs and other organs of the presidential campaign that receive the money, well, they have to pay influencers, television stations, radio stations, designers, video makers to convince people to go and vote. And the people don't want a corporate tax cut. The people don't want unregulated AI. The people don't want to bomb Iran. They care about other things. They want fewer Venezuelans peddling candy bars in the street corners. They don't want press one for English. They don't want to see kids potentially die in a war. They want grocery prices to go down, and they want things like this. So that's where the influencers are paid to say, hey, all the things you want, we're going to do those things. But you see, those people don't give the money to the campaign, and those people have a much shorter attention span. If the campaign doesn't deliver on Israel, if the campaign doesn't deliver on AI, on corporate tax cuts, on oil and natural gas, those individual billionaires that cut the giant checks, they remember that in the next cycle and they don't cut a check and the campaign dies. But the voters have jobs. They have lives. They go and vote. It's the most important election of our lifetimes. Remember that every time. You guys are idiots. It's the most important election of our life. This one really is. And every year they say it. It's the most important election of our lifetimes. I know we say it every year, but this time we really mean it. And this time we really mean it. This time we know we say that too, but this time for real. And you get animated and hyped up. All right, staying alive. The Avengers have assembled.
Anyway, he goes on, but the point is that if you notice that the donors, that's who gets things done. And it's all about the money. And it's not, I mean, he's pointing out the Jews. It's way more than that. It's your, this election, you went in and thinking, okay, we've got an underdog, someone that cares about the middle class because of the way he talks. I mean, I got off the couch and voted because of that. And then you just see things play out exactly like every other election has played out. And there's not much difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got the Tucker clip?
Oh, yeah. So this was cool because Turning Point I guess it was last weekend, Charlie Kirk did his thing. Now this video is not going to show them getting up and walking out, but
tough crowd.
Tucker, I think, makes a great point here. Mm-hmm. And I think you see him, we've talked about this on previous shows about, what does Tucker realize and not. And I think he's realized more than he lets on. It just takes him time to build his thought process before he comes out and does it. And it could be that he was waiting for this turning point moment to come out like this, because I thought it was brilliant.
People what they actually want long enough, and instead substitute things that you claim they should want, like bombing Iran. I'm not for Iran, where you spend all day telling me that it's so important that boys not playing girls soccer teams or whatever. I agree. I hate the tranny stuff passionately. I think you should keep the boys off girls soccer teams, but I don't know. It kind of feels like you're feeding me appetizers.
Low-hanging fruit, yeah.
Be a better country. I want to see a country I recognize. I don't want to see people sleeping on the sidewalk. I don't see people ODing on drugs. I want to know where those drugs coming from. Why can't you stop it? You got the U.S. military. Don't you have SEAL Team 6? Like, what are they doing today? Don't you have Delta Force? You could give me another segment about how impressive the U.S. military is? I believe you. Why aren't they employed to make my country better? Why are my cities disgusting? I don't want to go there. It smells like weed and halal food. And you're lecturing me about how it's a great moral victory that I kicked the boys off the girls' soccer team? Good, I'm so glad. Well, let's do the real stuff, like making New York livable and create an economy where my kids can have kids. How about this? How about we just make the measure really super simple? Can my children have without the benefit of like the great luck I have had, can they have a roughly approximate life that I had? Or how about just a middle-class life? Can they like get married young, as I did, and like have 4 kids and, take a couple jobs, work hard and all that stuff? But in the end, it's like, fine. Can they do that? Or is that like so remote a possibility, you need to tell me that Iran is the real threat to take my mind off the fact that you stole all the money and screwed up my country beyond recognition? You did not.
When he goes on to talk about foreign entities pushing us into that, and he finally admits that it's Israel and Mossad, and I think he's been sitting on this a while and used this platform to do it. It was awesome. And he comes on last on Turning Point, and I think Charlie Kirk was not expecting what Trump did. I highly recommend. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's towards the end of the video, but he goes on for like 30, 40 minutes, and I think really nails it. And it even people like Napolitano. I don't know how much you know about Andrew Napolitano, but he's
that has no forehead.
He's a right.
He's just kind of melds with his.
You need to stop.
In fact, I bought. He wrote 2 books. He's really he's a libertarian.
He's a nice guy.
He loved Ron Paul, and he really spoke for a long time about the economy and against the Federal Reserve and things like that. And he's even coming out.
He goes after Israel too.
Yes, and he actually interviewed. Where is it here? Jeffrey Sachs. And, you see people like Napolitano and Tucker and people kind of coming around to this thing of like, okay, something's not right about all these wars going on in the Middle East. What is going on here? And I think Jeffrey Sachs kind of puts that in perspective.
He always does.
A population. Israel has deliberately starved the people of Gaza. Starved. I'm not using an exaggeration. I'm talking literally starving a population. Israel is a criminal, is in nonstop war crime status now. I believe in genocidal status. And it is without shame, without remorse, without truth, without insight into what it's doing. But what it is doing is endangering Israel's fundamental security, because it is driving the world to believe that the Israeli state is not legitimate. This will stop when the United States stops providing the munitions to Israel. It will not stop by any self-control in Israel. There is none in this government. This is a murderous gang in government right now. These are zealots. They have some messianic vision of controlling all of today's Palestinian lands. They're not going to stop. They believe in ethnic cleansing or worse, depending on whatever is needed. And it is, again, the United States, which is the sole support. And it's our mumbling, bumbling president and the others that are not stopping this slaughter.
And people are realizing it.
Yeah.
People are coming around to realize it. In fact, we had this, I think this was about 4 days ago.
Israel has.
So right here, the dock workers, I think it's in Greece. No, this isn't it. Sorry, hang on.
Well, they bombed a Catholic church recently, and of course, is it Syria where they're slaughtering Christians?
Yes, it is Syria that
Syria has been slaughtering Christians for a long time now, and no one's doing anything about that. But Trump is
Israel is
gonna
now
shut down
invaded Syria.
Yeah, but Trump's going to shut down our speech, by God, if we criticize.
Right.
He's got Leo 2.0. Oh my gosh, I can't even watch that guy anymore. He's such a cult follower.
But I mean, you've got Greek dock workers blocking shipments of military grade steel. People are realizing, okay, something, what we've been fed for the last 60 something years is not correct. And they're waking up, and thankfully for X, you're able to see this.
More and more people coming out and saying that Netanyahu is a madman. They may be nobodies, but it's more and more people that I'm seeing on X come out saying that Netanyahu is an absolute madman.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, real quick, let's go back to the Tucker thing there. Now, this is at Turning Point. You've got a bunch of young college, these are young kids going to mega churches, premillennial dispensationalism. It's all they've ever known. Yeah. They know nothing about church history. This is Christianity to them, Zionism. They equate the Bible and Christianity with Zionism. So when Tucker, as popular as Tucker is there, when he's starting to talk about this, they show video of all these kids walking out because they think they're doing something for God. They think, we're going to make a moral stand against Tucker because he's talking about God's people, the apple of God's eye. Those dirty Khazarian phonies.
You do, yeah. You see the video, and I watched the video, and it literally, like when he's talking about Iran, everybody's like, "Oh yeah," and then that video,
when you deal with the cause of the problem,
yes. And he was leading into that. He leads into, okay, here's why, and that's when kids started getting up, leaving.
Sad, but they're starting to wake up.
I mean, there is always going to be a certain amount of cognitive dissonance when you're first met with an opposing view that makes you look at your paradigm and ask yourself whether your paradigm is true.
Yep.
Especially if God's involved. Especially if
hard. Especially if God is involved, it hits so hard.
Yeah, it's harder when you have traditions and like traditions that have been with you through generations. Your grandparents taught your parents, your parents have taught you, you've taught your kids, and now all of a sudden that may not be true. It's difficult. It's a difficult pill to swallow.
We were listening to a sermon from Joel Webbin.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up because he knocked this out.
He did. He nailed it.
Watch this. This is just
some of you need to hear this because you've believed a lie for a long time, and it's not just I want you to.
Now, who is this guy?
No, it affects your relationship with God. For some of you, you have read that verse and many others in that light throughout the New Testament as God saying to you that because you're not Jewish, because you're not an Ashkenazi Jew, that you're a second-class citizen in his kingdom. And that is not biblical. That's not what the Word of God says. Some of us, it's subconscious. It's maybe not on the forefront of your mind every moment as you're spending time with the Lord in prayer or scripture reading or here at church. But for some of us, even if it's only subconsciously, some of us, we look at modern Israel today and we view them as though these are the natural-born, biological children of God. And then you and I are God's redheaded stepchild. And we're kind of, it's family dinner time, and we're sitting at the end of the table. And God, he gives us a seat at the table. That's something. We're invited in for family dinner time, and we are his child. We are his son. but he's kind of distant. He's kind of indifferent towards us. He's kind of cold. And the best way to get dad's attention, to garner, even if just for a moment, some of dad's affection, is for us as the stepchild to do something benevolent to the kid that he really likes, namely the biological child, Israel. Now, to further paint this illustration, if we were to be accurate in this instance, the biological child, here's one more factor, really hates dad. Like the biological child hates dad and is like constantly trying to pick fights with dad and says that dad's a liar and he doesn't believe the things that dad has said. He doesn't honor dad. He doesn't seek to obey dad. So you have a family table and there's dad at the head. And then there's a couple biological children that get to sit at his right and left hand, you know, closer on that side of the table to dad. And dad is just swooning over them. But they're like under their breath, you know, making jokes, you know, cover their mouth with their napkins and dad's dumb. And then, you know, further down the table, there's all the adopted, you know, stepchildren. And dad doesn't really give us much attention. But if we can be kind and benevolent towards the biological children sitting closer to dad, dad notices that and for a moment will catch his gaze. And for a moment, dad might actually smile at me. That's dispensationalism. That's Zionism. That's American evangelicalism for the last 150 years. True. And I'm telling you, not just that it's bad theology and that it has geopolitical implications and the potential of World War III. I'm telling you, even at a personal spiritual level with your relationship with Jesus, you have to stop believing that. Why? Because God actually loves you way more than the dispensationalist wants you to think. You are not a second-class child of God. You're not his stepchild. He loves you. He loves you. He loves you. He loves you.
Good, huh?
Yeah, that is good. Now, who is this guy?
Joel Webbin.
Okay.
I think he's a Reformed Baptist, if I remember right. But you know, it's not that. It's not just that, but they've conditioned Christians to seriously believe that they're in sin. Not just that, like, oh, I'll be on God's good side if I
Sure.
treat Israel right and I give them all my money to kill little babies. But it's that I'm actually in sin. Like I could, and if you're an Arminian in a lot of this, and a lot of these guys are Arminian, then you're doubting your salvation if you question Israel. Yeah. You know, I mean, you could lose your salvation. I mean, if you're in sin, you know. So it's just the Rothschilds have a great thing going here. I mean, this is one of the greatest religious psyops I have ever seen in my life, and they've had this thing running for 150 years. And they're desperately trying to cash in on it with a World War III. Yeah. And they're not going to let up. And they've got Trump. They got Trump right where they want him because he's a sucker for it.
Sucker.
So we will see.
You know, it's and I got one last video that plays right into this. So all these dispensationalists and these people that think that Israel is the apple of God's eye, they always say, well, no, they just want to get their land back. They just want to get the land back. But here is the guy that's running the government, and he's saying, no, we're going beyond just that.
Well, it's the Greater Israel Project.
Yep.
They believe that they're supposed to rule the world.
Now, here's another thing. You'll notice when he wants to talk to the Americans, he'll speak in English, you know. Mm-hmm. Wants to get them all, you know, the Americans on his side. But here, because he's talking about invasion of Syria, it's in a whole, it's totally different.
אני מבקש לעדכן אתכם מה עשינו בסוריה ומה נעשה בסוריה. אנחנו קבענו מדיניות ברורה, פירוז המרחב דרומית לדמשק, מהגולן ועד אזור הר הדרוזים. זה קו אחד. קו השני, שמירה על האחים של האחים שלנו, הדרוזים בהר הדרוזים. שני הדברים האלה הופרו על ידי המשטר בדמשק. הוא שלח צבא דרומית לדמשק, לתוך האזור שצריך להיות מפורז, והוא התחיל לטבוח בדרוזים. זה לא יכולנו לקבל בשום צורה. ולכן הנחיתי את צה"ל לפעול ולפעול בעוצמה. כדי להעביר תקף גם את כנופיות הרצח וגם את הרקד, והוספתי יד גם לתקוף בדמשק את משרד הביטחון. בתוצאה מהפעילות העצומה הזאת, השתררה הפסקת אש, והכוחות הסורים נסוגו חזרה לדמשק. זה חשוב, זה הפסקת אש שהושגה מתוך עוצמה. לא מתוך בקשות, לא מתוך תכנונים, מתוך עוצמה. ואנחנו משיגים שלום.
And this is exactly why they bombed Damascus, or they missile attacked them, blew up the something around the whatever he's called, right around in there. And I think this is where they hit the church, right? It didn't destroy the church, but it was close. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
They're using it as an excuse to take more land.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, the Talmud, they believe they're the only ones that have souls. No one else has souls. Everyone else is just an animal. So they really have no moral compass. Even though evangelicals think that they have a Judaic Christian ethic that they share with them, they have no clue what the Talmud teaches, unfortunately. So, you know, I mean, the Bible says in Hebrews 13:14, here, that is on earth, and he's writing to Christians in Jerusalem too. Here in earthly, literal Jerusalem, we have no abiding or eternal city. We look to the one that is about to come. Galatians chapter 4, there's two Jerusalems. There's the Jerusalem from below. There's the Jerusalem from above. Answers to the new covenant. That's the one that the author of Hebrews is saying is about to come. Well, the new covenant was already present. It was inaugurated, but it wouldn't be consummated until the Lord came soon in AD 70. That's when the new covenant, New Jerusalem, would be matured. So in Revelation 3:11 and 12, if you look at the NIV, it uses the present tense. The New Jerusalem was in the process of coming down when John wrote, but then it would come to earth soon at Christ's soon coming. The book of Revelation says in Revelation 1:3 and Revelation 22:10 that the appointed time for the fulfillment of the book of Revelation was near. And so that's when the New Jerusalem's here. And when in AD 70, the old covenant Jerusalem and Israel vanished. Hebrews 8:13 says that which is obsolete and is growing old is ready or will soon vanish. So all of this is pointing to AD 70. And so from there on, we have no, that's why it just kills me when Trump says, talking about earthly Jerusalem, the eternal city. It's just, he's so brainwashed into the whole Zionist cult that he has absolutely no clue, and he's just played by these people.
But, and again, it's still up in the air whether he's a Christian. I don't know. But, I've had this question for a while, and I know, Mike, I've approached you, and I've approached David and Don, and no one could give me a straight answer to why is it that, and I've met not dispensationalists, but studied scholars that can't get past this whole, they want this tangible thing. And I couldn't understand, why can't you see what the scriptures are saying? And I get it. We know what we know because God gave it to us. We ask, he's faithful. He gave it to us, not realizing what he's about to give us. We're going to walk through that door and be, a very small minority, and we're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be made fun of. You're going to get kicked out of your church. However, bad things are going to happen. But why is it that certain people Like, I know a guy, and no one could answer it. And I sat down with him and realized once we started talking through it, they want the physical so bad that it basically clouds their ability to see the scriptures for the way it was written, because they want it. They want this physical thing. They want a physical Israel. They want a physical return of a 5-foot Jesus. They want this physical kingdom. Because when I sat with the guy, and I sat with him for two times, he goes, well, if all has been fulfilled, what hope do we have?
Yes, that's what I hear all of the time.
And yet, what does Paul say in Corinthians? He says, our hope is not, let me slow it down. Our hope is not on things which can be seen, but on the things which cannot be seen. Paul says in Colossians, Christ in you is the hope of glory.
And the power.
Yeah. John 14, when the Father and the Son come and make their home within us. Jesus, Luke 17:20, when the kingdom comes, you're not going to be able to say, see here or see there, for the kingdom of God will be within you. It's, and the whole climax of redemptive history in the book of Revelation, covenantal history I'm talking about, is when the New Jerusalem comes down and the Father and the Son dwell with his people in the New Jerusalem. And it says, and death is no more there. He's not talking about physical death. He's talking about the spiritual death that came through Adam the day he ate that fruit, and he died that very day spiritually. That's why Jesus says, if you believe in me, you will never die. He's not talking about physical death. He's talking about a quality of abundant life where you can actually have contentment and enjoy him and the fruits of his spirit, and him imparting and imputing his righteousness to your account. And if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what to tell you, because that's Bible 101.
Right. But it's the physical, and they can't see past it. And this guy's a very humble guy. He's a study guy. I've learned some things from him. He wants to know the truth, but that physical thing has just totally blinded him.
That's what happened in John 6. All the disciples, they were following Jesus, but they wanted to make him king. But when he started saying, my words are spirit and they're life, they're like, what? And they wanted to make him king, and he rejected their idea of a physical kingdom. He rejected it. And he taught a spiritual kingdom, spiritual water, spiritual bread, spiritual life.
And I tell people that all the time. I said, just go and study the Gospels and look. Every single thing Jesus talked about was spiritual things. If you're lucky, you're going to live to 85. 85 years? And the idea of eternity is nothing. So why would he come to earth and talk about physical things? Right. Go find me one thing he talked about physical. Nothing. And when you got into a discussion with him about physical things, he took you right back in. He's pointed you right back to spiritual things.
And when he did do physical things, when he did physical healings, why did he do it? When he heals the paralytic, what does he say? He says, so that you know, talking to the Pharisees and him, he says, so that you will know that the Son of Man has power to forgive sin. That's the ultimate healing. Yeah, that is bringing you into the presence of God. That's right. That is it. That is the ultimate. So that you will know that the Son of Man has power to forgive sin. Pick up your mat and walk.
Yeah.
The point of the physical was a sign. Signs and wonders. It's a sign pointing you to the spiritual reality that is way more important.
Well, and he even said, he goes, so you believe when you die, you go straight to heaven? And I said, absolutely, because it's all been done. It's finished. And I said, I thank you for asking that, because at least you're consistent. When you die, you're not going to heaven.
Yeah.
Because you don't believe it's finished. Mm-hmm. And I said, what? You want to talk about hope? Mm-hmm. You still have hope?
What Proverbs 13:12 says? Hope delayed makes the heart sick, but hope realized, that is when the promise is realized, is a tree of life. We'll be debating Sam Frost and Jeremiah Nortier, two all millennials, Don and I, and they used to be partial preterists. Sam used to be a full preterist. He's all over the place.
I don't even know how you.
But anyway, their latest, which is the all millennial view. Where's my book, Hoikema, the future, the Bible in the future. But anyway, it's when you're talking about the time text. Well, Christ is always near. Like this, it's like a carrot and stick. Like every generation, Jesus is near. It like totally just destroys language. But that is their hope. Their hope is this carrot and stick that is no hope. We have a hope that's anchored in time statements and what Jesus says about the nature of his kingdom. So we're right on as far as time of fulfillment and nature of fulfillment. Whereas they claim that we destroy the hope of the church. No, you've destroyed the hope of the church by turning it into all this physical expectation, which is exactly why the Jews rejected Jesus. But Jesus is just exegeting Daniel 2, talking about the stone that's cut. It's a stone cut without hands, meaning it's completely spiritual. It's a totally different kind of kingdom. That is what Jesus exegetes on every page in the Gospels. And for the Jews to reject that is to reject, their own Torah.
Mm-hmm. So Denise, were you a full preterist when you met Mike, or it happened after?
Oh, it happened after.
It happened after, but I was never one. I guess just me being me. I was never one that saw things the way I was, quote, supposed to see things in anything. It didn't matter, So I had questions. I always had questions.
I'm the same. I've been the same way.
Revelation. We started talking about the book of Revelation, and she knew about Nero and 666, and I knew it was love at first sight. So.
I just figured you were attracted to crazy guys, and
shots fired.
Because I've been called crazy too. So there you go. But I agree. I've been that way too. I've never really accepted anything at face value.
Yeah.
And when things don't make sense to me, and they keep over the years not making sense, then eventually I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out.
Right.
And most of the time it's prayer. It's like, okay, I need some help here because I'm hitting walls, especially when it came to this. But and of course I'm considered a kook.
Right.
In some
well, it
ways
was the first
as well.
time my mom said that Mike's book, and I don't know which book she's referring to because I really don't know if she even knows that he has published 2 other books since the very first one, House Divided, but called it New Age. And I was like, what are you even talking about?
What?
You should have said yes. And at the back of the book, there's a DVD of Mike doing yoga and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So that was her segue into making sure that she knew that I was not welcome. I could sit to Anna Grace, our 9-year-old, but I was not welcome to come.
I'm definitely not welcome. We went there and had dinner with them one time. We got into it about baptism. Of course, they're Church of Christ. So, and I'm a Calvinist, so that went really lovely. And then of course we got into eschatology. He's a partial preterist. I'm a full preterist. Just obliterated him, and his ego and his wife's ego. I mean, that's it. So
yeah, it's the ego, man. I think that's why God blinds a lot of Christians, especially pastors, preachers, whatever you want to call them, because of their egos. And Peter even says it. You're not going to understand God, the truth of God, without humility. So I think that's a lot of it. But this guy that I talked to is humble, wants to study, and he's so fixated on the physical that he cannot get past it. And God's not just going to break that barrier down. I think honestly, we met. I wanted to know why, but he really had, first time we sat down, he had more. I couldn't even get a question in. He had more questions. So I'm thinking that God is working this for both of us. And I think it's going to be beneficial for him. I've already got my answer, but he's like, no, we need to meet again. I've got questions about this. So hopefully we'll see, because he's a humble guy. He's not your typical preacher.
So I was wondering, hun, there was a comment up here. It had to do with here. Speaking of zealots, isn't the goal of Islam to either convert or kill all infidels? Yes, it is.
So is the Talmud.
And so is the Talmud. I certainly don't agree with everything Israel does, but I'm in favor of any country defending their citizens. So I think we need to go back and understand how Israel has used the Muslim world to create constant chaos.
Yeah.
They formed Hamas. They're really good at problem, reaction, solution. You create the boogeyman that justifies, and you're doing nothing against you, Susan, but that's just the typical talking point. Israel has a right to defend herself. When she is provoked, constantly, even creating these evil institutions. But it's not just Islam. You have to read the Talmud. You have to understand that they too believe that they're supposed to deceive Christians. Yeah. They're to reduce their populations. They're to kill Christians. There's a place in the Talmud that says if they kill a Christian, it's an act of worship to God. So you don't understand the Talmud, and I'd encourage you to study that a little bit more, because when I started studying it, I thought I was reading the Quran. I was like, wow, this is the same garbage. It's just wrapped up a little differently.
Right.
And except they're a lot smarter than the Muslims. The Muslims are kind of like cavemen. We kill you with our sticks, whereas the Jews are like, no, through the Rothschild money, we're gonna control your banking system. We're gonna control your media. We're gonna control your Hollywood and what you see. And that's how we're going to conquer you. And they believe that they're going to conquer the world just like Islam does, through any means possible. So just something for you to consider.
And Susan, to your point, though, we do need to be careful in this country. We have more and more Islams coming into coming into political power than ever before. And yes, they will conquer from within.
Yeah,
they are very good at doing that. Yes. And we have got to be careful.
Yeah, we're fighting a two-prong war here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and I think you got to realize, why are these people voting for this difference? Because the white Christian males have been doing the exact same thing for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. Then you vote for like an AOC, and then she comes in. And now she's the same way. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, where now she voted for the bill to send more money to Israel, and now she's being outed on that, and people are turning on her. Sure. And a couple of people, on X have actually shown where she's been getting money as well. Mm-hmm. So what do you do when you want something different? I mean, you look at New York City, these people want something different. So they're turning to this guy that wants to, make all the grocery stores government run. So they want something different because they're not getting it. We all voted for Trump because we wanted something different, and we're not getting it. So I'm not, I'm planning on sticking, like I've always said, the more libertarian you can be, the better. The more less government, the better. You just have to find the right people. Well, other people aren't like that. They're like, look, I need food. I need this. I need this. So I'm going to go with someone that's going to supply that. And on the surface, they are going to supply it until they get into power. And then they're going to do what every communist socialist government has always done.
Mhm.
Enrich themselves to the expense of the others. And, you know, your average Joe Schmo just doesn't know those things. But we've been getting the same thing for years. So what do you do?
So how did we get to this spot? That's probably a good thing to close with. I think Joel Webbin was doing a sermon on Deuteronomy 28. Good point. Something I've known, but it was good to refresh. In Deuteronomy 28, you have the blessings and cursings of God for Israel. When she was obedient to Torah, she would be the head, the nations would be the tail. When she was faithful, she would control the finances and of the nations. But it says that you'll let the foreigners in, and if you disobey me and you become corrupt, I will let them rise up in your midst, your enemies, and they will become the head. You will become the tail. You will lend from them, and they will control your finances, and you'll be slaves to them. And so what we've had happen over the last 150 years in this country is the rise of evangelical Zionism, which is, while many of these people do love the Lord, their theology is so wicked that on top of the rest of the nation, which is completely godless, we have allowed Israel to come in here and take over just about every institution we have. And we don't know our Bibles, and we actually want to bless these people that are destroying us. And it's just crazy. And that's how we got to this place. And until we have a reformation in the area of eschatology,
Reformation, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's really not going to be this great awakening that Alex Jones talks about. This is a very much a religious psyop, and I think the pillars of their power are obviously Rothschild money, because with their money, with the banking, they're able to do everything else. They're able to take over with the Rockefellers, the medical system, and Hollywood, and the banking, and media. So money is their main one, but the other one is this religious psyop that they've been able to accomplish with evangelical Zionists. So if we can gain power back in those two areas, and we can break those columns down, we will really begin winning. Big time, bigly. We will big.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think as well, there are so many prongs to this, because you also have the psyop of Marxianity and the idea that these socialists sound more Christian and more charitable than Christians do. And so we need to understand what the Bible says about personal responsibility and money, as well as what the Bible says about eschatology and the end of the age. You know, and there are so many psyops that have worked so well on our young kids, you know, racism, the race card, climate change, all of this feeding into the banking system. But all of these things are also preached as talking points quite often from the pulpit, from quote pastors who don't know their Bible from a hole in the wall.
Yeah. Well, all you got to do is follow the money on everything. Every war that's ever been fought, every ideology that's come out, climate change, whatever it is, you just follow the money, and that's exactly right. You will see exactly what it's about.
And the people with the money are able to run the psyops and the propaganda, and that's what makes this so difficult. But God is the God of the underdog. God is the God of the remnant. God loves to confound the wise and the powerful and the rich with the truck driver, with the nurse, with someone who's seems insignificant but just loves the Lord. That's what the Lord, he's always done this. He's always worked through a remnant.
Always.
He loves to confound the wise, those who are trusting in their own wisdom. He says, go ahead. I'll let you trust in your wisdom. I'll let you gain some power. I'll let you gain some influence. And then I'll just let you destroy yourselves, or I'll raise up a righteous remnant and let them destroy you. It's just these are just cycles that constantly play out throughout nations' histories, and you know, that's just where we are. I just really hope we're at an hour now, but kind of wrapping this up, I really hope that there is some justice done, because in Proverbs it talks about how when the righteous rule, the people are happy, they're glad, but when the wicked rule, it's just the people are just miserable, and when there's no justice. And you know, it'd just be so nice if we actually got some justice done, and Lord willing, Trump will learn something in the Bible that his mama got him about Zionism.
No.
But
well, he's playing 4D chess, Mike. He's playing
That's what
4D.
it is.
So let's let it play out.
Right,
He's playing 4D chess.
Well, you know, but we talked about this before, where even though the guy knows nothing about the Bible, really, God can use his own ego sometimes to deal with Benjamin Netanyahu. And
absolutely.
So God's ways are not ours. We'll see what happens.
I will tell you this: it's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is.
It definitely will be interesting.
All right, Mark, you're going to have. I've never edited any of my shows. Never. I've always done most of my shows live, but I'm going to have to ask you to edit the introduction to tonight's. That was pretty bad. I had to.
That's going to get us more viewers.
Oh, is that what it is? Watch Mike.
Hey, in fact, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to start putting it out. Hey, Mike screws up here. Come on.
Yeah, with friends like you. Yeah.
It's all about viewers, man.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you got anything to wrap us up with?
No, I think you've said it. You know, let's just it's going to be interesting, and we hang on to the word of God and the truth that is his word, and we know it's all for his glory anyway. So we'll be okay.
Yep.
Babe.
Yep, absolutely.
You get the last word.
Last word, God is sovereign. God is always sovereign. Even when things seem the darkest, God, he will work his strength through our weakness. He always has, he always will, and he has always worked through his remnant.
Amen.
And this is how sovereign he is. And again, I always go back to this verse whenever I'm studying globalists or Islam or the Talmud, and it's just so dark. It's so dark, this stuff. It's the depravity of man, just there. And the verse that always comes to my mind, this is how sovereign God is, how much he's in control. It says, both the deceived and the deceiver both belong to me.
Yes.
He's in control over both. They're both doing what he wants to do. It's like, well, wait a second. That doesn't sound right. Well, God had Christ crucified, but it worked. It was according to his plan. God had his saints martyred in the New Testament. It was for a plan and a purpose. Don't look at things around you as accidents or fate or chance. There is a sovereign God that is in control of everything. He can turn the heart and the mind of a king like he does the waters. And it just takes that. So we've got a lot to be thankful for, our families, our salvation, that spiritual kingdom that we've been talking about. And we won't be here that long. And we get all eternity to behold a perfect, holy God. Here, we're just kind of stuck with looking at all, making sense of all this crap and the depravity of man. But it's such a short time. The rest of eternity is looking at pure holiness. And that's going to be awesome. All right, guys. We'll take care. We'll see you on the flip side next week.
Thank you, guys. All right. See you, Mike, Denise.
Bye.
You better edit that intro.